how can you be sure that it was actually P. Diddy?
Because I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands, but then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hips.
If they did ballistic tests and Puff had gunpowder on him, why didn't the police go through with charging him?
Natanya Rubin has not begun to see reparations for what happened to her life. How did NBC get to profit off of it?
Jennifer Lopez is facing serious trouble after shocking revelations from her past have surfaced. Reports suggest that she was involved in a major crime alongside Diddy and that both of them initially managed to escape.
Days of deliberations, the jury now appears to be focusing on the gun possession and bribery charges against Sean Puffy Combs. This afternoon, jurors sent the judge 2 notes, one of which asked for a transcript of a phone message Combs left Wardell Fenderson, once his driver, now the prosecution's star witness. During the trial, Fenderson testified that Combs was armed the night of the shooting at Club New York and later pressured him to claim ownership of a pistol police found when they pulled over Combs' Lincoln Navigator as it fled the shooting.
And I just want to make you feel comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Make your family feel comfortable.
What exactly Combs meant by that is in dispute, but the prosecution claims the rapper offered Fenderson $50,000 or a diamond ring to take the rap for the gun. The jurors also wanted to hear a readback of testimony relating to Combs' former girlfriend, actress-singer Jennifer Lopez, who was in the Navigator when it was stopped by police. An officer testified that everyone in the SUV was ordered to put their hands on the vehicle, but Lopez walked away, saying she was going home. As she was being detained, a gun was discovered in the vehicle. At that point, a sergeant on the scene ordered everyone who was in the vehicle under arrest. The officer quotes Lopez as saying, "It's not my gun."
They are floating issues that are old.
Jaguar Wright told us that J-Lo is going to be investigated with Diddy. Jaguar Wright said that Diddy and J-Lo are both going to be investigated for the 1999 nightclub shooting where the victim said that Diddy pow-powed her in the face.
On the night of December 27th, 1999, a young woman named Natanya was at a club when her life changed forever. She says she was shot in the face by music mogul Sean Puffy Combs, now known as Diddy. She was not involved in any drama and was just an innocent bystander. That same night, a young rapper named Moses Shine Barrow was also there. He ended up taking the fall for the entire incident and spent nearly 9 years in prison. Diddy, his co-defendant in the case, was found not guilty. Natanya was only 19 at the time and is now finally sharing her story publicly.
Having been shot by someone that was allowed to come into the gun when I couldn't bring in a phone, I would absolutely unequivocally like the case reopened. It needs to be reopened. And the saddest part for me is, had people taken what I said more seriously and listened more intently, 24 years worth of people probably would not have had to suffer.
Yeah, and I ask you this respectfully, just because I think people at home might be wondering, and I've never been shot, I can't imagine what that's like, but in the chaos of that moment, and it's a club and there's people all around, how can you be sure that it was actually P. Diddy?
Because I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands, but then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hips. And I instantly turned to my friends and told them, be careful, watch out. And when I turned back, I know, and I've said over and over, I've heard the voice of God that you are about to be calm down. And as I said no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns and I felt the impact to my face instantly.
Wow.
There's no doubt in my mind who shot.
The moment Natanya began speaking, people noticed that Diddy was listening closely. This resurfaced when Jennifer Lopez became involved in one of the lawsuits against Diddy. Some are claiming that she helped cover up the crime in 1999 and may have even assisted in getting rid of the gun. The theory is that Diddy and J-Lo pinned the blame on Shine to protect themselves.
So what really happened with J-Lo, Shine, and Diddy, it became an episode for Law & Order SVU. A lot of money was made off of that. And guess what happened in the end of that episode? When they finally tracked down the starlet, who they were hiding from everyone, so she never had to testify. The male rapper took the charge, so the case was closed, and that's when she finally admitted that it was her that did the pow-powing. Ice-T knows a lot of people from that time, and he used to frequent at that club. He would have known all of the real details of everything that happened that night. Natanya Rubin has not begun to see reparations for what happened to her life. How did NBC get to profit off of it?
So after him and Diddy fell out, he started working with Jodeci more. I see. How you feel about the victim of the club shooting? I gotta ask you about this, man. How you feel about her coming out now saying that, Diddy, he shot her and not Shine? How you feel about that?
Well, the way I feel about that, the case is closed, bro. It can't be no double jeopardy. It can't be no retrial, because they already had a trial and a man was convicted for her injuries. A man already did time for her injuries. You understand? If they would have to go back and see that if there was ballistic tests done on Jennifer Lopez, on Puffy, God bless the dead, on Wolf, did they do ballistic tests? And then see if they did ballistic tests and Puff had gunpowder on him, you know what I'm saying? Why didn't the police go through with charging him? Why didn't the police charge him? She can say that now, and she said that I don't take nothing from the victim. I don't take nothing from the victim. But her lawyer should have advocated. I know Puff and Shine, they had the same charges. But like I said before, and like Shine said also, Shine said this also, because it's true. Puff had witnesses that come in to testify against Shine and say they saw Shine do the shooting. So her making those statements now, and the case is over with. It's been what? Well, how many years it's been? 15, 20 years? 15, 17, 15. Shine went to jail for 10 years. It was in 99, right?
Law enforcement now believes that the federal investigation into Diddy could expand and start examining his past, including the infamous club shooting. What surprised many is how deep JLo's involvement might have been. Natania has always stuck to her story. Now some people are asking why she is only speaking about this now, and if she is chasing fame.
Oh, well, why would he shoot you? What did you do? Did you owe him money? And I'm like, class, pay attention. Bullets don't have names, and they don't have predetermined destinations. Once they come out of the gun, they're gonna go wherever they go. And that's the thing about crime and shooting people. You cannot guarantee that what you're aiming at is what you're gonna hit. Because you might be a thug, but it doesn't mean you have good aim. You might be a criminal, but it doesn't mean you have good aim. And that is exactly how I sit here today. Because some thug criminal with an attitude and an ego that was outside of control decided he was gonna fire a gun in a crowded nightclub and shot me in my face. By the grace of God, I am here. The first thing I said when the bullet hit me, and listen, when right before the muzzle flash went off, when I had turned back to look, I heard God's voice say, relax, you are about to get hit, calm down. And when I screamed no, pop, pop, and it hit me dead in my face. And I never passed out, I never fell, I never cried, everybody started running. And just like when you watch a TV show or a movie, and there's one person standing in spot and everybody else is moving in fast motion, and that one person is just in that spot, whatever they do looks a little slower, but everybody else is moving fast. That's exactly what it was like. Everybody was running, trying to get places. It was chaos. It was chaos. When that door, the first few people ran out of the door flew open. And remember, I was in that line sight, straight from the staircase, straight towards the front door. As soon as the bullet hit me, I threw my hands up and screamed out, No, God, don't take me. I'm not finished raising my kids. I have work to do. I screamed that at the top of my lungs. I said, I'm not going. Don't take me. I have work to do. I have to raise my children. And as I said that, the door flew open and I could feel that total rush of that cold December 27th morning air. It was freezing out there. And it passed right before the air. You ever watch Star Trek and they say, beam me up, Scotty, and they start to pixelate? My body started doing that. I felt my body pixelating. I didn't even feel like a solid person anymore. And as my body was pixelating, that's when the door flew open and the air rushed in.
Jennifer Lopez has always been seen as glamorous. Every man she has been with has had something to say about her except Diddy, who still calls her one of his great loves, and she once said the same about him. But even their red carpet romance from 1999 to 2001 could not survive what happened at that club. Reports say Diddy started a fight by knocking a drink out of someone's hand. Gunfire followed and 3 people were hurt, including Netanya. She says she was hit in the face by a bullet from Diddy's gun. Diddy and J-Lo fled the scene but were caught hours later. J-Lo was released not long after, while Diddy stayed in custody for a while. The whole case turned when J-Lo said neither she nor Diddy had a gun.
I was putting my earring in, and my girlfriend Kelly, whose house we were at, had a big Rottweiler named Brick. Brick jumps up, stands fully tall, and puts his feet on my back, on my shoulder, and it knocks my earring out of my hand. The earring falls, goes under the fish tank that broke earlier that week. And so there were still little pieces of glass under there. So when I went to get my earring, cut my finger. Just all these little things trying to stop me from going out of the door. I go clean my finger, I get the piece of glass out, I clean it, I wrap it, put on a Band-Aid, put my earring in. As I reach the threshold, they're blowing the horn, telling me to hurry up. I step 1 foot across the threshold and a voice says, go change your shoes. Now, I knew it was God. God talks to me all the time. So I was like, if I change my shoes, I have to change all of my accessories. And God just repeated, go change your shoes. Now, I'm a stiletto girl. I would stand up in my beauty salon in stilettos for hours and hours on end. This particular day, I had on short ankle boots. I'm not a flats kind of girl. I don't really wear flats. Well, now I do. But back then I did not. Those boots that I had on were flats. The heel was probably just about this big, and they were ankle boots, some snakeskin ankle boots. And I went back and I changed the boots. The boots I changed into, I had just bought them a month earlier around Thanksgiving from Bloomingdale's. And there's a story behind it. But what I had a girlfriend named Pat, whose sons were like the neighborhood guys that watch your back and all of that, and kind of they're on the block. She asked me for a favor. I did her hair. She came back and paid me at a later date and gave me a gift card to Bloomingdale's. I took that that gift card, went to the store, bought these boots. So this is bigger than just change your boots. It was an act of faith and an act of love for a friend that was repaid to me. I took that act of love that was repaid, went and bought a pair of boots, and those boots saved my life. I put those boots back. I went and put those boots on, which had a heel on them, went down to the car, we went off to the club. They were complaining, you took so long, you're taking so long, we were gonna leave you. We laughed it off, we got to the club. We pull up to the block, and there are 2 ambulances at the front of the block as you turn the corner, halfway in the street and halfway on the sidewalk on each side, narrowing the stream of traffic to 1 lane. And I instantly said, 2 ambulances, are they expecting somebody to die? What is this? Because I had never, ever seen that at a club or at this club. And it just stood out as so weird to me. My friends were like, I had just gotten saved. So they were like, oh, come on, hallelujah, don't start with all that. Making their jokes. You know how it is. I'm from New York. We got thick skin. I'm not bothered by it. But it stood out to me instantly. It was a very cold day. So when we got to the front of the club, there were lots of people outside.
Some now wonder if she lied back then to protect Diddy, and if that was her biggest mistake. Shine, the young rapper who took the blame, now says he was just defending Diddy, and in return Diddy let him take the fall for it.
Did Puff ruin his life? Yeah, because Puff helped the prosecutor put Shine behind bars by getting the witnesses and giving them to the prosecutor so Shine could have that fall.
I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he pretty much sent me to prison. That is the context by which you must always describe that relationship. Yes, I forgave, I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving. This is someone who destroyed my life.
Now Jennifer Lopez may be in serious trouble if these old stories prove to be true. She insisted that Diddy did not have a gun. But why is she still so close to him? Some people believe that Diddy has something on her, a secret that keeps her loyal.